And did I almost sleep through 5 different alarms for the 7 a.m. commentary? Maybe. Was I also up until midnight last night streaming? Maybe. That doesn't matter. We're still here, live with the action. We have a treat this morning in front of us. Alice Lee going up against Yifan in the Women's Speed Chess Championship final. I don't know who we should be following here. I'm gonna wait for the people to filter in before we pick a side. I don't know if people want to follow the new young up-and-comer or an Alice representing the good old US of A, or good old Hu Yifan representing China. It's 7 a.m., so I had to double check and make sure that was the Chinese flag, man. Listen, it's early. It's early. Days. 24 moves in a blitz game. They're still at 97% accuracy. It's crazy. I'm like the same rating as, almost the same rating as these players. And yet there is still an ocean of difference between us. It's nuts. What's up, Chase? What's up, Kaizan? What's up, Lewis? I think the big difference, a lot of the difference, is their opening detail. Oh, we have the first mistake of the tournament, and that's a blunder because you have the strike queen h4. And Alice misses it. It's a very easy move to miss. And now you have rook takes g6, and it should start to boil down. But with same colored bishops on the board, I think Alice can press a little here because it's not necessarily just game over all she wrote. c5 maybe? Lock the pawn in place, protect d4. a4 by Yifan, immediately seeking to strike at the pawn chain, attacking the base of it at its weakest link. Only 17 seconds left for you, and this is what we've seen Alice do throughout the tournament. Put immense amounts of time pressure on people and play some incredibly accurate chess. Now, can she invade down the H-file? I mean, in a perfect world, but there's also bishop f5 and rook a7. For being in time pressure, Yifan is drumming up some gorgeous counterplay. Apparently, if you had to pick a side, Stockfish favors white. I mean, it's still all equal, but time is the big situation here. But, I mean, it's getting closer. Like, Yifan has some speed in her, huh? She's been playing with like 20 seconds left. Like, as far as I know, she just teaches kids in college. Like, she's a professor. She doesn't study or train chess. She just, like, casually strolled out, made it to the final of the Women's Speed Chess Championship. It's nuts how good she is. But is it going to be enough to overcome Alice? Rook h4 is a blunder. There was e6. I don't even understand how e6 works. Oh no. Finally Alice gets in. Rook g2 or rook f4? Rook f4 to bring the queen in. Rook g2 makes a lot of sense, but now there's king f1 and queen h7 on the horizon. King g7, the only way to keep the queen out, and somehow material's even, but you can play rook c6 and sacrifice the rook. Yifan came out of retirement, stopped grading her students' papers, and just decided to grade the competition and her peers, starting off the tournament with a brilliant rucksack win, balling out for the last 20 moves on 17 seconds or less. Yowza. It's a long tournament. Should we follow who? Which side should we follow, chat? It's 7 a.m., man. I need some suggestions here. All right. I want Alice to win. Alternate. We could alternate. There's nothing wrong with alternating. Zod, I think I saw you at Popeyes the other day. You might have, but probably not. I go to Popeyes with Grandpa Zod every Sunday. but I don't think I've been there since. The accuracy they play at is ridiculous, especially for blitz games, but it shows the level of theory they're both at. If you see me at Popeyes, put some free chicken in there for me, you know? Be a real one. Who you got winning? I mean, I feel like Alice Lee has to be the favorite. If Yifan was still like actively training and everything, I think it would be very close. But given how Alice has dominated the field up to this point, I don't know if Yifan can like take it. But also, Yifan's a legend of the game. Alice is 16. Like, there has to be pressure both ways. Drop a galaxy in the Popeyes biscuit. Zod, I miss you. I'm right here. What are you talking about? Whoa. D5? Can we play that? I guess so, because if knight c3 or d2, the queen then protects the d5 pawn. Knight c3 takes, and the queen helps support the pawn. But yeah, it does look like black is getting the pair of bishops. I guess the argument by white is that, well, okay, you have a pair of bishops, but what are they doing, right? This bishop, not exactly, you know, controlling the streets out there, and this bishop's kind of just staring at a white wall. White wall. What's up, Shefferer? She's 16, yeah. Alice Lee, 16, the first woman to become a 3,000 rated, to reach the rating of 3,000 on chess.com. Although, I guess, you know, she's the first woman to do it, but she's still a teenager, so. What mic is that? Looks cool. I appreciate it. It's like a FIFA and mic. Got it to upgrade the stream setup like 6 months ago. Haven't had any problems with it yet. What's the most amount of games you played in 24 hours? I have no idea, to be honest. This position is somehow really good for black. Oh, look at this knight. That's why. Listen, it's still 7 a.m., all right? Some of these positions I don't understand too well, but I do understand a good knight when I see it. Look at that. Good night, Jim Kite. All right. The pawn on a4 is also very suspiciously weak. I wonder if there's even queen... Oh, if you go queen a8, there's just knight c7. The knight on b5 for white is the saving grace of this position. Like, it's bad, but as you can see from Yifan in the think tank, it's still taking some time to figure out exactly why it's bad, right? If you aren't able to prove why your opponent's position is bad on the chessboard, it might not be that bad. And Yifan finds the best move in the position, rerouting the bishop. If you're ever trying to figure out, hey, in a middle game like this, if I don't know what to do and I don't have any obvious like winning combos or pawn pushes, how do I come up with a plan? The main idea in chess is you take a look at all of your pieces and you start with whatever piece is the least active, right? Whatever piece is accomplishing the least, your worst piece, you start with that and you do what you can to get it into the game. And since the rook and knight are already attacking the pawn, Yifan decides this light square bishop is the worst piece in the game, so she redirects it over to d7, and now her worst piece can be traded off for white's best piece. A gorgeous, gorgeous amount of understanding from Yifan. Although it did take her a decent amount of time to play the move. Alice continues to put some pressure on the ticker, but, you know, it's 1 second increment and they still have 3 minutes. It's not like we're in time pressure just yet. Who's the Magnus Carlsen of women's chess? For the modern all-time, it's the Polgar sisters, with Judith Polgar being the strongest woman player of all time. In the modern era, it's been Yifan, to be honest. Like, and Ju and June, but Yifan is probably the strongest non-Polgar women's player of all time. Even though she's retired now, she still plays events here and there, And as far as I know, she doesn't even, like, study. She just pulls up and, like, whops people. Knight d2 to e4 is a good plan? What? Knight d2 to e4. Oh, knight d2 to e4. Back here, okay. I was like, what you talking about, Willis? It's too early in the morning, man. I gotta get me some breakfast. Queen c8 accomplishes something important that I will tell you about momentarily. Just a moment. I don't know. I guess she just wanted to overprotect f5. Black is being very, very patient about this position. I think Yifan's trying to make this a chess battle, right? Like, okay, that might sound a little like, duh. But Alice is an absurdly strong tactical player, and Yifan is one of the strongest classical players of this era for women's chess, if not the strongest. So she has a deep, deep, deep understanding of the game. There's a reason why she's a grandmaster. Any position that has a bunch of maneuvering, a lot of positional play at work, where you're working on one side of the board at a time, is going to favor Yifan in all probability. But once the waters get murky, once you start going into a deep, dark forest, that's when Alice Lee and her tactical ability, or at the very least her ability to come up with decisions quickly that just complicate the game further and further, forcing Yifan to burn more and more time on the ticker, is going to take over. I think the faster and faster these time controls get, the more and more heavily it will start to favor Alice Lee. Right now, I think for the 5+1 portion, her goal should try to be to survive, right? Not go on a losing streak, not go on a score where you're like -3 or more. And if she can get out of that, you know, the 3+1, 1+1 portion, I think that's going to start favoring her. The bishop for white is so sad. I think that's why black did this pawn e4 push, cut off the diagonal for the light bishop. And as we're talking about working with the worst piece, you see white starting to formulate some kind of plan to get the f-pawn up the chessboard, maybe, in order to free up the light square bishop. Black trying to strike against that, but bishop f6 a little too passive. This was Yifan's time to make a move and play pawn g5. But with time pressure on the chessboard, and again, such a tactical player, do you really want to try to force the issue? It's not just about finding the best move. Chess is a war of ideas between two sides. Don't play the board, play the girl, right? And that seems to be what Yifan is doing here. I don't know if Alice can figure out any way to, like, break through, right? You're seeing these X's and you're like, ah! But if you're Yifan, the second you try and break through and force the issue, even if you're better as a result, that's when you start freeing up Alice's pieces, and good players find moves when their pieces can move. That's just how it works. You know, she's at this ELO for a reason. She's in the final of this championship for a reason. Rook to a3, the only move to defend the pawn on a4, because the bishop on f6 slices through the chessboard, and you give up the pair of bishops in exchange for a pawn. But this is what I was talking about. Yes, Alice is down a pawn here, opposite color bishop in game. Idealistically, it should be a 2-result position, meaning either Yifan manages to grind this out like Magnus Carlsen, or Alice manages to hold it and it goes to a draw. But there shouldn't be a world in which white wins this game. But Alice is here for a reason. She makes these games so tricky. The computer wanted you to play pawn e3 and lock the position up. That's what Yifan was expecting. But Alice seems to say, no, I'm going to play pawn f3, and we're going to get some fireworks going in the position. And that 30 to 50 second time advantage dwindles away so quickly. And now look at this. Yifan tries to bail out. She wants to force the queens off the chessboard, but there might be queen b3 slicing across the board to the black king, and all of a sudden Alice is on the verge of doing what she has done this whole event, turning games on their head in the moment of truth. The pawns are exchanged, e3, but now there's queen b2 forcing the issue, and at the very least the queens are coming off the board. Is a4 falling? Oh, queen b2 is such a nice dagger to find. And now it does seem like a 2-result position, meaning either Yifan is going to find some way to grind this out to a win, or maybe Alice can hold it, but there shouldn't be any world in which Yifan loses this game, right? It's not like white has any kind of pawn that could be a win condition. I gotta go for some Arizona, man. I'm so happy I picked that up at the store yesterday. Rook d4 is a blunder? Whoa! Oh my goodness, you can play d5. And there's no way to get the d5 pawn. Oh. It looks like Yifan is on the verge of going up 2-0. Oh no, did I just jinx her? Rook c5 or rook e4? Time pressure is getting to both sides. Material is even. Alice has swindled the position to a draw. I think at this point she's going to try and press for more. Yifan just wants to make sure she locks up a draw. Are they going to agree to a perpetual? Alice getting her king to the center of the chessboard. Now you can play bishop d5, and if at least temporarily you're up a pawn. It's an opposite color bishop in game, so it should be a draw. Oh, there was no pawn h4 because of bishop g3, and Yifan finds a way to keep the material equal. You have to play king e8. King g8 allows rook c7, and the position falls down. 1 second on the chessboard for Alice. You gotta go. Rook b4. Oh, what a find. There's 1 second increment, so the sides don't run out of time, but it's not a lot of time to go. You gotta go king e7. Both sides feeling the pressure, feeling the nerves. If the rooks come off the board, they're gonna be able to lock up the draw. Pawn h5 is an aggressive try, but it's a draw here. It's a draw. Woo! Whoa! Oh, king f... What? Yifan is still up a pawn. No. There's nowhere to go anymore. Yeah, Alice has it. There was some win for a second on that chessboard. What was it? Oh, man, 2 seconds? Oh, the nerves have to be... She's got it, though. Uh-oh! Oh, no! How does that even happen? Oh, she blocked her own bishop. It's like your instinct is to chase the pawn with your king, but you block your own bishop. And Alice, somehow, some way, sneaks out with the George W to even the match. Oh, man. Oh, man. But the nerves they have to be feeling, man, when you have 2 seconds on the ticker and you only gain 1 second and you gotta go. You know the pressure's on, the world is watching, like, Like, this is for all the marbles, too, you know? For the money, for the moolah, the fame, the glory. But it's also, you know, it's about more than that, too. It's about the young generation. Alice, the first woman ever to, although she's 16, to ever be rated 3000 on chess.com versus the previous generation, Yifan, who is the strongest woman player of this era, bar none. Like, oh, man. Commentator curse. I know. I jinxed them so bad. On both sides. I believe this is the same line they played. I don't know about queen h6, but I believe the opening is the same line they played in game 1. So it seems like both sides contented with how the first game went, not willing to back down. We see white with some pressure on the dark squares on the king side in the position, and you ask yourself why white isn't just completely winning. It's because the pawn structure on the queen side for white is pretty shattered. This pawn on c3 is going to be a big target. The pawn on c2 on the bottom of the bunk bed, never really going to get into the game or be a threat to do much. But white is still the one with the pressure and a lead in development. That's why you see Stockfish favored white by almost a full pawn. And apparently with bishop f6, you can apply some very, very, very real pressure to the position. I don't know, man. I still don't know who I have as the favorite. Whoa, bishop f6? Oh, this is ugly. Oh, wait. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, no. I gotta wake up. This is the Women's Feature Championship, man. We gotta wake up. I thought for a second you had takes and then, I don't know, here, and then I just go king f7. But not only is there queen takes h7, you can just play pawn f7 and win the queen. Rook takes e6, and look at this. The pressure cometh. Pawn f4, launching straight up the chessboard. You don't want to play queen h6 too quickly because there is queen f8, dodging the mate. But if you're black, this position is far from being in Wonderland. I don't know how many times I'm going to make that pawn. It's bad, you know? There's no way to activate your pieces off the chessboard, off the back rank. This light square bishop, it looks like a solid defender of the position, but it's impossible for it to get anywhere offensive because there's no light square targets in white's position. Yifan, once again, is displaying the technique that she has, that she yields almost just too casually. Again, like, I know I sound like a broken record saying this, but it is absurd to me that she is, as far as I know, I mean, she could be in the lab underground, you know, still working, but she does not actively train chess anymore. She is a professor, and every now and again she comes out for events like this and just, with mind-boggling technique, crushes the competition. Alice is a strong favorite. Too fast? I think once we get down to the shorter time controls, you'll be right. We've played 20 moves, and Yifan is on 9. Is there bishop g6? No. Maybe? You could also just go c4, which isn't very explosive, but it's safer. 19 moves at 99.8% accuracy in a blitz game when you don't even play anymore is absurd. She doesn't even, like, train anymore, man, alright? Like, this is nuts. And it's a blitz game. Now, maybe once we get down to the 3+1, we are going to see a slight shift in the tip. Oh my days. How do you even calculate that out? Wait, if you go d3, if you go d3 and rook e7, there's queen takes e7, takes, and you take on c2. Oh, but there's queen e1. Okay, never mind. I thought I found a trick. Boo. Should have known. I don't know better. Ugh. The accuracy is going up. It was at 99.6. Now it's at 99.7. Her accuracy is going up. What does she teach? That's a good question. I don't know. She's a professor at college, but I don't know what exactly she teaches. It's got to be mad cool for her students, though, huh? You know her students are watching these games. Like, they're obviously cheering her on. Why h3? Because you don't want the king to be subjected to a bunch of checks by the queen here. So you play h3, providing luft for the king. And now I assume queen h5 is forced, but like that's oh, nightmare to play. Queen takes h5 is a winning in-game, but queen e1, oh my days. Oh my days. She didn't even wait. I couldn't even get the move out of my mouth. Oh my days. Everything wins here, but the cherry on top of the cake for the perfect game of chess would be queen to e5, starting a force mate in 12 sequence. But it does not matter what she plays here, as all roads lead to Rome. 99.7% accuracy in a game of blitz is absurd. Queen to e5 would have been the dagger in the coffin, but all roads lead to Rome at this point. You are allowed to finish this game off in whatever sequence you like. You know, as long as you don't go around playing like rook to e8 or something, you'll be a-okay. Although this position is so good, rook to e8 might even still be a win, which is crazy. Why not queen c3? Nothing wrong with queen c3. Queen to e5 just ended the game faster. I will say, if Alice swindles this game like she swindled the last one, it would be, to be honest, like that would be the craziest comeback I've ever seen. But like this game is over. Like this is a disgusting performance from Yifan. The technique was absurd. Even Stockfish is like, you know what? Here's your accuracy back. You've been playing so good. Here's your accuracy back. Here's your 99% back. 26 moves at 99% accuracy is ridiculous. Oh my, stop it, Yifan. Stop it. Oh my. Just boxing the queen out. You know it's bad when 28 moves have been played and this rook on a8 has yet to move off its... Oh my, she found rook e7. It's forced mate. This game is an immortal blitz game. I don't care how the rest of the match goes. This has to be the game of the match as far as like accuracy goes. There's no way we're getting another game as precise as this. This is absurd. And now the way you finish it off is queen to b3. And then after king to h8, you bring the queen in with queen takes b7. But you can play rook g7. You can play queen c4. Everything wins here. But the time is getting shorter. For all the praise that this game deserves, it doesn't matter if you can't finish your opponent off. King to f8 in order to keep the game alive. And now the only option for black to stay alive in this game is to sacrifice the queen on f7 or 8, any other route, and you end up getting mated. You can try b6, but it ain't enough. You're getting double checked, and then queen to e7. The only way you can stay alive. You can try king g7, but that's not going to bail you out. The only way to stay alive is queen takes f7. Alice knows it. She's looking for any alternative she can. There's no queen to e2. She knows this doesn't work, but you've come this far. You may as well try something, but she knows it doesn't work. And Yifan, with gorgeous precision, takes game 3. Yifan has been winning every single game in this match so far, but Alice has managed to hold her own in the 5+1 portion. The 3+1 portion is going to be a next after the 5+1 portion, and we're going to be able to see if Yifan is able to keep up with the speed. Alice is here for a reason, and a big part of that reason is her ability to play quickly in complicated positions. No, I don't think so. In the what? No. Huh? Hold up. players are on a short break before the 5+1 resumes. The accuracy by Yifan in this game was absurd. The technique was crazy. You 28, 26. Not too far off. Match resumes in about 2.5 minutes. Might be a good time for me to order some food. No cap, no cap. Zod, can you ban all of the TikTok chat? Ooh. Uh-oh, TikTok. Twitch is coming for you. Ooh, uh-oh. Zod doing great as a commentator. I appreciate it. I'm getting hungry, though. My bad. I had to get the cats their breakfast. No, the action resumes. We're gonna have to follow Yifan in the 5-1 portion after that last game, and then we'll switch to Alice POV and the faster time controls. Methinks. Maybe it's time for a haircut, man. My headphones are getting a bit much for the old noggin. Although that's a result of the general shopping at the Dollar General. What you gonna do? Gotta order me some breakfast, man. Alright. Can Lee sweep the 3-minute portion? Sweep? Put some respect on Yifan's name. Win? Dominate the 3+1, maybe. I could see it. Sweep, I mean, Alice has been dominant this tournament, don't get me wrong. Can we sponsor a new headset? Yeah, you guys are just trying to distract me from me ordering my breakfast. So there's people being a-holes in TikTok chat. You're on Twitch. Ignore them. They're not even on your app. Okay, they need to pause the game and stop making moves so I can order my Belgian waffle. Oh, wait, can I even get a Belgian waffle? Didn't they just beat us in the World Cup? Oh, wait, I don't care about soccer. Nice. One Belgian waffle. Um, I get a waffle and a Philly cheesesteak stacker. Hold the onions. Very good, very good. Should I get onion rings? Nah. No need for onion rings. Another time, Zoddy. Another time. Hey, what's going on in this chess game? They're ruining my viewer experience, though. Your viewer experience is pretty easily ruined, huh? Reading comments from people about how their viewer experience is ruined ruins my commentating experience. That is what I'll say to that. In the meantime, Yifan is Equal material. That pawn on e4 looks like a target. Stockfish is telling me that it's a strength in the position. A weakness is only a weakness in chess if your opponent's able to take advantage of said weakness, exploit it, attack it, pile up pressure, target it. And right now, there is no way of like getting to this e4 pawn. What if I go f3? You just ignore it and play b5, setting up potential pins, problems, and pressure on the a7 g1 diagonal. Yifan's ability is absurd. Oh, queen h5 was... Whoa! Why is this a blunder? RCD8, duh, but then after knight e2, there's... Whoa, what? Knight e2, and you have e3? And if takes, just bishop g... Oh, my days. And if takes... Wow. Although, even this looks pretty good for black, though, right? Like, it's not as convincing, but is the pawn on e5 not just falling? Does white actually have any way to salvage that pawn? Oh, man. Although, you know, a lot of blitz, people ask me, like, how do I improve my blitz rating? You know, you have to treat each move just as you would in a classical game as a problem, and you have to figure out a solution to the problem, if there is one. But in blitz, you know, you don't have to come up with the absolute best solution. You just pick a solution and you keep going. Because your opponent still has to win the chess game, and that can take time, and there could be things they overlook, right? Your chance to strike back should eventually be there. You just need enough time to be able to manage the position. If you do manage to strike back or survive long enough to, you know, hold the position, you need enough time to make sure you can manage that survival. So a lot of improvement in blitz is learning to, instead of, you know, for example, here, Alice, instead of trying to take the rest of her time and come up with some way of saving that e5 pawn, bites the proverbial bullet, plays quickly, and she's like, hey, I'll play down a pawn. It's not game over. Yes, it's a bad position, but my opponent still has to actually win the game, and now I'm the one up on time, and mistakes could ensue that allow me to even it up. This isn't her first rodeo. She knows what she's doing. It's what blitz is all about, right? Not necessarily trying to play the best chess and outplay your opponent, but force your opponent into an uncomfortable spot where they don't have a lot of time. And complications lead to missed oversights that lead to tactics, tricks, traps, all the T's. And now you're seeing Alice start to play very quickly. And for the first time in 2 games, we're seeing Yifan fall into time pressure. White can equalize the position and apparently even be favorable with knight e2. Opening up the file, and Alice finds it quickly, too. Maybe, I was about to say, maybe f5, but now the pony reroutes. The rooks are getting ready to storm in on the d file. And white has plenty of counterplay in exchange for being down a pawn. Because black can't easily... She would love to play rook d5 to shut the rook down from getting in on the d file. But obviously with the pawn on c4, that's not a possibility. You look at pawn e3, but it doesn't work because pawn takes on f3, defends the bishop on g2 with the rook. And this is a blunder just from a positional standpoint. Bishop f1. It's the only move to keep the advantage in the position with 55 seconds left on the chessboard. Can Alice Lee figure out that her worst piece, the bishop on f1? Oh my days! Striking back against an absolute legend of the game. She trapped her opponent's rook. And Hu Yifan is going to take a tough loss. Are you kidding me? What a trap! Bishop f1 is nasty. Oh, there's nowhere the rook can go, trapped by its own pieces. And we see the significance of bishop f1. That is disgusting. Pawn e5 chases the queen away, but there's nowhere for the rook to flee to. I don't know if you want to play this on as Yifan, because the more 5+1 games you play, like as the better chess player, you want more time on the chessboard, right? As the stronger chess player, as the grandmaster, as the person who's used to calculating deep ideas, the more time you have to exercise your technique, the more that should favor you and your play style. The less time, oh yeah, just mate in two. Nice, nice, sneaky. Nice. Nice. You can't capture because of the pin. And after king g8, queen e6 is checkmate. Oh, that is disgusting. They're playing the same line again. Why? It's like some kind of the Petrov, right? Witty and I kind of played this line against each other a bunch in our match versus each other. Okay, Alice is switching up the line. I'm more questioning why Alice is playing the this line, because you know we just saw Yifan play like a perfect game of chess. So look at how many of the minor pieces just came off the board. I went down for a sip of Arizona tea. I came back up, and all the knights were gone. And a pair of bishops. Queen e7. The c5 square looks juicy. Although you'll never win the rook. There's always queen e1 defending everything. But it's still a very annoying move to face. Best moves are go bishop e2 or bishop f1. Meeting queen c5 with queen d4. Maybe black plays c5 at some point. Queen a3 could also be a little annoying. I think that might be what Yifan is taking her time on. But queen, you can go bishop f1 at least. And then queen a3, queen c1. If you take, rook a1 traps the queen. King h1 looks like a reasonable move, just making sure the king can get pinned. And now how will Yifan create counterplay once again? Her technique has been astounding to watch. But for all of her technique, for all of her brilliancy in this match, it's tied. It's 2-2, you know? Alice is holding her own. She's like having to suffer in a lot of positions, but she understands what blitz chess is down to a science. This over the board? No, they're playing online. It's a chess.com hosted event. The outcome of this match doesn't affect Alice's title? No. Even if this was over the board, no speed chess, so no blitz or rapid has any impact on any of your titles. Only classical chess does. I can't learn anything if they play less than 98%. Appreciate the heartbeat, Bernard M007. Appreciate the go pop your Shinsuke. Hello, Zab. What's up, Afadan? My apologies, General. You're good, Jed. The time usage is fascinating. What time usage? Alice isn't taking any time whatsoever. I know that's what you're talking about. But it is crazy how she's holding her own and taking no time. And Yifan's kind of giving in to her ideas. I got a little distracted, but there's been a bunch of mini concessions in this position, and that's why Stockfish now favors black. We saw the white rook swing over to the h-file, but Yifan brought it back, alright? And while bringing it back is a killer idea on the dance floor, in chess, you know, usually when you have to go backwards, it's not what you want unless you've managed to provoke weakness from your opponent, usually in the form of them pushing a pawn forward, opening up a weakened square. But no such pawn push was presented. So now we just have a bunch of weaknesses. Why? What? Queen a5 is a mistake. Oh, queen a3 was stronger. Okay. I was like, How could this possibly... I mean, it just made sense to me. Queen A3 was stronger, though. A little too fast from Alice. It looks like you'd have C5, right? Like, C5 looks like it would just kick the rook off, and now the rook is forced to retreat back to D3. But you have rook B5. And now after queen A6, rook takes C5. And now Alice is stopping because she sees the trap, which is good. But she also gave away her advantage, which is bad. And Yifan has created some kind of weird queen trap. Like, this is her game plan, and this is why the position is equal. Yes, if black ever gets this C5 push through, white's going to be in trouble. But white is somehow, some way, keeping the most powerful piece in the game at bay. You cannot move or activate the black queen. She has trapped the queen on the edge of the chessboard, and it is sentenced to a long, grueling life at the edge where it's basically useless. She's better even? Yeah. To be honest, I was understating how well she was holding her own in this position. Although obviously the advantage is now flipped back to Yifan, she is still up more than a minute on the ticker. Queen can't go to C5? You can... let me go back. You can attempt to run the queen to C5. Oops. But if you go queen C5, white gets queen G3. But it's not truly trapped. And we see Alice do just that, run the queen to C5. Although now with the bishop on D3, you can't play queen G3 anymore. So now isn't my queen just sentenced to the E1 square? I'm starting to lose the understanding of this position. I don't know why white is better. Apparently the top move was just to go back to A5. I can't play queen back to F8 ever? Apparently white was still slightly better in that endgame. I'm guessing because of A5. But then you have B5 and then A6. And then C5? I don't know. The computer is telling me white is, like, the one that should be pressing, but I don't understand why. That's what I'm thinking. That black eventually gets this C5 push. And with the... I guess this doubled C3 pawn is actually pretty effective. Yeah, you got to give it up, but... No, C4... but I don't like takes either. C4 is the right move. This is such masterful positional display from Yifan. Like, Alice is playing this position how I would be playing this position. Like, black should be the one pressing. But Yifan seems to understand that she's better. And now Alice is starting to understand that too a little bit. If you go queen F7, they're just queen E2. A5 is coming. Sooner or later. Thank you, General Love from Algeria. Shout out Algeria, baby. I can't believe there was an exchange on G5. Why would you give black all this activity on the G file? Was there no other option? Okay. The computer wants you to play A5. That also looks dicey. Queen F2? Oh, Queen F2 is stronger than Queen F1 because Queen F1, I think there's Queen G3. And now, obviously, if you play Queen G3, the queens come off the board. What do you do about a5? You have to do something about this. a5 and b6 if you're black. You have a time advantage, so it's in your favor to keep pieces on the chessboard. Bishop back to c8. That looks a little passive. A wee bit passive, laddie. Just a whoa! That's not passive. Oh! The best move is bishop f5. There is no human on this planet that is playing bishop takes f5. No human on this planet. Apparently, black has a superior position with a5. That's nuts. Playing bishop c8 was crazy. What's up, Lemur? a6, not as strong as a5, but a lot more logical because you're protecting the pawn. You don't want to overextend. Especially with time wearing down. Queen takes e5, now threatens pawn f3 with discover check. I think queen g3 is tempting, but yeah, queen takes e5 is just such an easy move to play. You retreat the queen, and now the material is even, but look at how passive Yifan's position has become. And with only 20 seconds on the ticker, it's all of a sudden really bad. You might have to go rook f3. I think she had to play rook f3 and sack the exchange. I don't know. Yeah, okay, she's going to do it now, but like, oh. You're going to need more than a miracle to make something out of this. Just bishop takes f3, I think. I don't see any reason not to just take the rook. Queen takes f3 is forced. Queen takes b6 is a little suspicious to me, but I suppose it's fine. White doesn't have a dark square attacker or defender to threaten the black king. So you're just chilling. Like, there's no counterplay here for white whatsoever. You can't attack the queen. You can't harass the king. The rooks are connected. This passed a-pawn, at least it's being stopped up. Rook to a3. Yifan doing everything she can just to hold this position. But, man, it is suffering to the nth degree. You can play rook e8 and try and activate. I don't want to move this rook because I never want to allow the dark square diagonal to open up and allow white counterplay. Queen, whoa. Is there not rook a3? Oh, queen c2. It looks like this position is just game over, but where is the knockout blow? Just go to the in-game rook g3? It looks like it's curtains. Rook g3, rook e3, and you can just slowly but surely bring the king in, or yeah, go rook f2, and now you're going to get this pawn to c2, and it's game over. Wow. This is a match, all right? This is a match. I don't know, man. Yifan's, like, understanding is absurd, but Alice and her ability to survive, complicate the position, and then flip the script, it's, like, insane. But it's also going to transpose from 5+1 over to 3+1. So we'll see how those time controls go. And then the final time control is 1+1. That was a great game. We're getting some haymakers in this match. All right. Just as advertised. Yifan dipped it deep into the think tank. Did not want to play the Catalan. Hey, yo, when's my food? I completely forgot I ordered food. Oh, it's not coming for another like 30 minutes, man. I don't know if we're gonna make it, chat. All right. I need something in the tank. The level of chess being played here is too high level for me to keep up with. I would say on an empty stomach, but I also can't keep up with it on a full stomach. Who do you think will win? I feel like Alice has to be the favorite. She's been making mincemeat of most of the competition up to this point. She just has to be the favorite. Yifan is the more accomplished of the two, but she also is a professor now, and she doesn't actively train chess anymore, as far as I know. She just casually wakes up and wins these things. Yifan's trying to remember her theory, I think. But she's burning valuable amounts of time on the ticker. If you take down here, knight takes e2, and then queen takes a8. Is that what she's going to play? Better question, is she going to play? 3 minutes to go. She has burned 2/5 of her time 10 moves into the game. Whereas Alice playing at the speed of light as per the usual. This is acceptable in the 5+1 portion, but as we wear down and we get closer to the 3+1 portion, you need to be ready to adapt your mentality. And she couldn't force herself to sack the rook. She couldn't bring herself to play it. And now white has this sneaky, because the natural thing to do is play knight takes c6, pawn takes, not pawn d6. Pawn takes c6, takes, but after rook c8, you're going to have two attackers on this c5 pawn, and you'll get your pawn back no matter what. But white had this absurdly sneaky idea, bishop c6, pawn c6, and now there's knight c6, where if you trade, white just wins with knight takes e7 check. So you have to go queen c7, and now white is just up a pawn. Pawn b3. We got Ratchet 5 with the Prime subscription, baby. 14 months in a row. Shout out. What's up, Zod? Woke up early in the AM to commentate the Women's Speed Chess Championship final. All right. White goes up a pawn here, but you can get your pawn on c4 back, right? Or am I tripping? Queen c7, b3? Oh, snap. Are we just balling out down a pawn? Ugh. I don't want to jet from the action. Give me a second. I wish that was my food, man. I'm starving. So cool you're commentating big games. Thanks, I gotcha. I guess the idea is knight d6. Maybe you go knight d4 because you want to keep the imbalance the same. But it looks like knight d6. Yeah. And obviously, Yifan shouldn't, like, these are moments you cannot take time to think. There, you have one legal move. Not literally, but like, you know, yeah, any other move and you're down the exchange. Like, I understand the game. Whoa! You can play e5 and there's nowhere for the dark square bishop to go, which is actually crazy. Bishop g5, f6. And you can either play, oh my days, Yifan sees it, Alice sees it too. And you do not want to play bishop to e3, knight takes e3, pawn takes e3, and the queen on the edge of the board. We see Alice so willing to put her queen out there, but so often in this match, you'll find some way of finding activity while the queen is inactive. And now the only move for black to seize the advantage is queen to e4. With only a minute on the ticker, Yifan goes for, once again, the technical option instead of the tactical route. And it's been successful for her in some scenarios, but I think she needs to get... it's so hard to fault b5, though. It's still a great move for black. And queen b4 is a reasonable response, but now Yifan decides with the pawn on a6 no longer under fire, she's hopping right in, and all of TikTok is like, wait a minute, she just blundered a fork, what is she doing? Whoopsie! Whoopsie! So now the question is, white is, what do you do? Can I play pawn e3? Pawn e3 looks awful. Do you see Prague won the Rapid and Blitz event? I did. Prague has been on a tear lately. I heard he's going to be representing board 1 for India at the Olympiad. Queen e1 was the best move, but man... White's position is the epitome of passive. When you show why a position is winning just off of activity, we show positions like this, where every single one of white's pieces is on the back rank of the board. All of black's pieces are active in the position, and even though material is equal, the computer evaluates white to be down over 2 pawns of material, because there's just no way for the pieces to enter the fray. What do you even do here if you're white? Again, pawn f3 still runs into queen d4 with the double attack on the king and the rook. You can't play rook b1 to save the rook. It just falls. You play bishop a3. I mean, it's a move. The bishop does absolutely jack. And now the rook comes down to c2, and you're like, aha! I have pawn f3, finally! There's still queen d4 or queen e3. Oh, man. How the turns have tabled. Everything wins here, but I feel like just queen takes e2. And, like, you know, I think wow, I'm shocked that queen takes e2 didn't happen. You know, it feels like Yifan's been kind of avoidant of the in-games lately. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's just that she knows... with such a strong position, the in-game, or the middle game is just, like, dominant for her. But, like, the in-game is also, I feel like, pretty, you know, easy to wrap up. Bishop c5. It's as reasonable a move as any. You gotta overprotect f2. King h7, just making the king safer. I was gonna say maybe pawn a3. Hey, hold on to what we got. It ain't much, but it's what we got. Queen f3 looks juicy. The computer does want queen f3. You can also play f5. Time is getting a little dicey. I say if you get below 15 seconds, it gets very dicey. Oh, you sneaky. There's knight e3, but there's queen h5. Yeah, king g8 wins, but that's so hard to see in time pressure. There was knight e3. Knight e3 again wins. But now bishop takes g7 is a draw. Queen g6, okay. Whoa, there was a miracle save in there for Alice. And Yifan, she finds knight e3 a brilliancy, but then she goes back. Knight f2, that's game. Wait. No, yeah, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You can try and hold on, but you play like rook f3, rook c1, queen c2, and GG all she wrote. And somehow, some way, man, this match is back to even. This is crazy. Alright? So far, it is everything it's been advertised to be. Neither side backing down or giving an inch. This, again, though, is to Alice's advantage, I feel like, because the faster the time controls get, the more it should favor her. Can you show the draw possibility at the end? Yeah, we can go take a look at it real quick while they're in the opening. It was a bishop sacrifice. Bishop takes g7, where if you take queen e7, and the king never gets out of perpetual check. I mean, this is very difficult to see. If he ever goes here, he's losing, so he has to go back. With under 5 seconds left, you have to be plotting that, I think, or having that idea in the back of your head already. It's not something that you find live at the board with under 5 seconds on the ticker. How many points do they need to win? Whoever has more points at the end of the match wins. They play an hour and a half of 5+1, an hour of 3+1, and then I believe 30 minutes of 1+1. This is typically how white gets an advantage out of these kinds of positions. As a line I play myself, if you concede this early f5, white generally has a pleasant time. It's not winning for white. Calling it winning is a gross overstatement, but it's like white becomes happy with what they achieve, and they generally can exert a lot of pressure on the position. Apparently, the strongest thing to do here is to go g5. I don't know if that's a move I could bring myself to play. And that's why I'm here commentating and why Yifan is in the grand final when she doesn't even trade anymore. Her instincts tell her to play the move. Without hesitation, she plays it, and my goodness. The G-file is opened up, but there's no way for the black pieces to actually get at the white king. So you have nothing to be scared about. Now it's up to Yifan to try to retreat her bishop and start finding... My gosh. Who's the favorite for now? It's probably got to be Alice. Especially the longer and longer this match goes neck and neck like this in the slower portion of the match. Positionally, white is starting to take dominion because the black pieces have no activity. The positional mastery is absurd. This knight on d1 that's been dormant with a capital D reignites at the perfect time. And Yu Yifan and her positional mastery of the board are on full display. Good golly gee whiz bee, man. Oh my days. With material equal, Yifan once again is just straight up winning out of the opening. Knight g4? Apparently bishop takes g5 is... Oh my days, you can sack the rook with rook takes g5. But that's so hard to see. You have to go rook g5, knight g5, and then bishop h5. A lot more logical probably is bishop g5, knight g5, and you just go rook g3 and double up. Rook takes g5 is a absurd... rook g5 and bishop h5 is an even, like, more absurd sequence. I think bishop g5 and then just rook g3 makes a lot more sense for this constrained time control. But Yifan is burning a lot of time. It's like her spidey senses are tingling. In a tied match with the world watching. What does she have? It takes a lot of mental fortitude to switch your mind from a technical kind of maneuvering play style over to an aggressive, I'm going to sacrifice everything mindset. And we see her stick to the mindset of positional maneuvering rather than going for the big knockout blow. And while this is not the most accurate sequence, it is still a winning sequence. And that is what is important in Blitz. You find the path to victory, not the most accurate path, just the path. But as the defending side, you gotta fight, you gotta scratch, you gotta kick, you gotta bite, you gotta claw, you gotta force your opponent to keep finding solutions, keep burning energy, every single move. The king is on the run, His Highness. Oh man. You know, I don't think I have ever seen a match with such a weirdly consistent theme of one side, like, aggressively utilizing their queen and the other side punishing the queen by immobilizing her. Like, Yifan has managed to immobilize Alice's queen in like half the matches we've seen. But Alice's king is starting to run over to the queen side of the chessboard. And all of a sudden, how is white winning? You have this passed H-pawn, which is nice, but you can't really run it right now. And Alice, I don't want to say has swindled her way out of it. Queen h6 is 4. Oh, you have queen h4 as well. Probably queen h6 makes more sense. But is there bishop takes f7? The evaluation bar would suggest no, because bishop takes f7 aren't, that should just be you winning. Again, Alice's queen is squeezed. I know. I can't believe, like, it's such a weirdly consistent theme of the match. Like, I've never seen this kind of oh, why is this not winning? The only way to refute a sacrifice in chess is to accept it. So I assume it has to be king takes f7. If you do anything else, you're down a pawn and the rook is entering. Rook g6. You're gonna go with the triple stack. Oh man. Oh man, that is a deadly amount of pressure coming down the G. That's 19 points of material staring at the black king. You gotta run, right? Can you run? What is this evaluation? Like, what is going on? Why is one side, like, either black should be surviving and winning because they're up a piece, or white should be crushingly winning? Apparently queen f8, but how does that not just lose to rook f7? Oh, you have queen h8. And it's still bad, but it's livable. You could also just run. This is crazy. Oh, baby, a triple. I understood that reference. Bishop d7. Can anyone blame Alice for trying to activate that bishop? This is the 32nd move of the chess game, and she has 8 points of material still on their original starting square. And we have seen that theme time and time again throughout this match, where Yifan just immobilizes her pieces. What? Oh. I need my breakfast, man. I thought that was a free bishop, and I would have... Oh, man. I would have just been down a queen. But then what do you do? That's what I was thinking b4. But you can run away. Oh, man. I don't know, man. Alice might be able to survive this. There's only queen h4. Oh, that is such a difficult move to play. It's going to take a miracle. Alice, can she find the Hail Mary shot in the dark? With 7 seconds on the ticker. Oh, my days. What a find. I don't know if she knows this works or if she recognized that every other option lost. And like this is all she has. But what a find. In time pressure, playing against the legend of the modern day era. And she, with under 10 seconds, finds the counter. Brilliant. But now you have queen f2. Queen f4, king h1, queen f1. You can go rook 1, queen c1. Rook, you have to try, but I don't know if you can get away with that. That's so dicey to try. Wow. That is absurd. I cannot believe she swindled her way to a draw. What a find by Alice, sacrificing the bishop under 10 seconds on the ticker. And this match continues to stay neck and neck, man. All right. The players are evenly matched. We see Yifan's technique, but Alice's ability to fight. And they are dead even. That is crazy. I don't know who's... I think you have to favor Alice as the time control gets shorter and shorter, right? Like, Alice has to be the favorite going into the 3+1 portion. After the 5+1 portion ends, then they're going to play an hour of 3+1. And while 3+1 is still not bullet chess, it is way, way faster. And Yifan's technique is going to have to step up another level because there's been so many positions where she's been winning, but she hasn't been able to convert it. How Alice survived this position, I have no idea. Her king was just on the run, man. The winning move was rook 1 g6. And all that does is defend the queen. So now you're threatening to capture the bishop. If you capture the bishop before, queen takes f6, ends up just in a lost position. And if black tries to defend their bishop with rook a to d8, there's rook h6, queen f8, rook f7, queen g8, rook g6, queen h8, and now you end up playing queen d6. A lot of maneuvering had to be done, but you end up winning this bishop on d7, and black is just completely lost in the ensuing aftermath. But that's a crazy hard line to find, and instead, Yifan tried to bait her opponent into capturing this pawn, after which black is just lost. Rook b1, doesn't matter where the king goes, rook takes b7, and London Bridge is falling down. But after king b6, all of a sudden the black king starts to escape to the outer rim. And while you can chase him down, queen d6 in order to do so allowed the gorgeous shot of queen h4. And while you can capture the light square bishop, which Yifan ends up doing, there is no way of stopping perpetual check. If you try with like rook 1 g3, there's no actual win on the queen side for black or for white, right? You can't checkmate with just a queen. And if you go rooks to 7 to g3, because they're both on the g file, so you have to say the number. So if you go rook 7 to g3, then surprisingly, there's no checkmate here. And you can never bring more ammo into the attack. So because of that, and this is the kind of discipline that Yifan has, right? In a position where you knew you were winning, it's very tempting to try and force yourself to play on. But Yifan recognized that this position is no better than a draw, and she could very well end up losing this game if she plays on. There's no other way to escape the perpetual with the rook. If you try rook g3 with the, or rook 2 to g3, then queen f2, and it, what, not that. Allows mate in 1, so the king has to go back. And it goes back into the same kind of draw, perpetual pattern, no matter what. The match resumes in 2 minutes and 25 seconds, man. I am starving, alright? Cannot wait for my breakfast to get here. How far away are we, baby? What? It's almost here? Oh, snap! Chat, my food's almost here. The 3+1 portion starts in 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 5 seconds, alright? Don't go anywhere, ladies and gents. We'll be right back with the action. I gotta get my grub. That just got his eye back. Oh, I am about to devour my meal. Very good. The Belgian waffle shall be devoured in due time. As the players get ready to resume, obviously they had to wait for the general to get back before they could resume. As is right. What'd you order? I got a Belgian waffle. It's the 3+1 portion of the match, man. This is hype. This match has lived up to the hype so far. It is deadlock 3.5. All tied up going to 3+1 portion. I don't know. We have an hour to play in 3+1, and then we get 30 minutes, I believe, of 1+1 minute bullet. I feel like Alice is the slight favorite here, but Yifan's been in pressurized moments like this so many times before in her life, right? That experience does count for something. I don't know, man. It could go either way. 50 minutes of 3+1, 25 minutes of 1+1. Oh, snap. Thank you for the adjustment. I feel like the favorite should be Alice, ever so slightly, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Who you got, chat? All right, let your voices be heard, man. We'll be putting this on the YouTube channel, all right? So all your takes, they're going to be out there. You'll be able to look back and be like, oh, snap. At the 1 hour 55 mark of the video, I said this person was going to win, and they ended up getting blown out, or they ended up losing, or they ended up winning, and you're a genius. Accuracies are insane. They're in this final for a reason, man. They're pretty deadlocked. I know. It could go either way. Like, there's no easy way to, like, no one's even been up more than one game in the match. Both players have led, but neither has trailed more than one game. It's crazy how even it's been. You want to say, like, some of it has to be pressure and stuff, but, like, it really doesn't feel like there are that many. Maybe last game with that perpetual check, Yifan could have had that one and put some distance between them, but that would have only been, again, a one-game lead, and, you know, that was a brilliant find by Alice in time pressure. Trading the rooks off is a disadvantage for black. I'm guessing because this d4 pawn just becomes weaker and weaker. I also got some hot chocolate with my good old Belgian waffle. How many games have they played? 7. It says so right here. Are they actually GM and IM, or woman GM, woman IM? Alice Lee was the first woman to ever. She's 16 years old, and she was the first woman to ever become 3,000 rated online on chess.com. 16 years old, by the way. Yifan is a multiple women's world champion. All right. Like, these two are legends of the game. Legends. This is why it was a blunder. It looks like that knight on b5 is fraudulent. Like, I should have some way to kick it, but there is none. This is what I was worried about, man, all right? I'm not going to lie, that hot chocolate is hitting, all right? That hot chocolate, But Yifan in these faster time controls when she doesn't have as much time to think. Alice's instincts, Her instincts are so strong. She understands the essence of blitz, which is you aren't looking to play perfect chess. You aren't looking to play the most accurate chess. You're just looking to move quickly. You're looking to find short, sweet, simple ideas, right? You're trying to keep it simple, not overcomplicate anything until you have a tactical shot. And then when your opponent is in time pressure, it doesn't matter who you are. Even Magnus Carlsen makes mistakes when he has no time to think. But through all the chaos, Yifan is only down one pawn. If she can survive this little sequence here, there's pawn b5, ew. Queen c5, bishop e3. And there's nothing you can do. Yeah, you have to sacrifice the queen for a rook and a bishop, which is sometimes enough counterplay. But with this pawn on b6, I cannot imagine black having any realistic chance to survive this. Alice starting to apply some pressure, and maybe the 3+1 portion is her calling. She was like, all right, I toughed it out in the 5+1. You got to display your world championship level technique. You know, you got to showcase why you're a grandmaster. Now let me show to you in the audience why I'm in the final of the Women's Speed Chess Championship and why I was the first to make 3,000 amongst women chess players online. All right, it's because she is insanely strong tactically, understands how to get positions to where they're complicated for her opponent, struggle to give them any option, and then when everything is lined up, go for the crushing blow. Knight f6, simplify the position, and now queen b8, a gorgeous tactical shot. Oh my days. And Yifan is going to be down a game unless she finds some kind of never seen before fortress, but a knight and bishop just not enough. Not to mention the time differential here. Everything is going to be decisive. I think queen d6 could have brought it home, maybe? There's got to be some knockout blow here. The knight on c6 is, or f6 is just suspect. I was going to say king g3. I think you could have played f5 there. But I also understand wanting to keep some pawns on the board. There it is. Queen g5 and Yifan can resign in peace. Wow. All right, man. We haven't seen anyone go down more than one game the entire match. Is Alice going to put some distance between them? And for the first time all match, she switches to a Sicilian system as the black pieces. Do you check TikTok chats? Does that answer the question? Is one pawn really that big of a disadvantage? If you do not have some form of compensation, like let's say I'm down a pawn, but in exchange, I can like attack your king, or I have like pressure, or I have more space, right? Then sometimes that extra pawn isn't, oh, whoa, isn't worth much. But if I don't have anything like that, then yes, that extra pawn usually ends up being the difference maker in a game. That tactical shot was nasty. Obviously, if you take here, I just take. And if you take with the bishop, you sack the rook. And there's no rook d8 because the knight covers the back rank square. And if you move the bishop to g5, gobble gobble. Here, there's g3, and then it gets gobble gobbled. Crazy. And just like that, Yifan is in the endgame up a pawn. So we are in a position where it's a 2-result game, or it very well should be. You can play bishop g5, by the way, and then rook e5. I don't know if you would do something like that. Yeah, bishop e5 seems a lot more logical. But, Zod, how do I become as cute as you are? Unfortunately, you can't. Or, you know, they tried to clone me in a lab. And the lab fell apart. It was like, this is impossible. I'm just going to self-destruct to save us all time. True story. Are you a Jim? I am not a Jim. I am a human. Are you a GM? I'm not a GM. So how do you progress from 2,000 FIDE? You study the end game first and foremost. All right? Study the end game. And the more you study end games, right? It can be like, let's say you study a master's game. Pay attention to how the game goes to an end game and then what factors end up deciding the position in those end games. You know, I think that as well as in-game studies are extremely important because as you get more and more advanced in chess, the problem is unless you pick openings that have like decisive attacks involved in them, your opponents generally aren't going to just lose the game, right? They might blunder and they might, give you material that might still happen and they might still make mistakes, which never stops happening. But the mistakes stop ending the game like that. They still force you to go to an end game where they have chances to fight on, and if you can't convert your positions, you won't win. So the more comfortable you are with and knowledgeable you are about the end games, the sooner you can begin with the end in mind. Which is why a study of the end game is so essential. You fell out of character? You are not a human? Well, I am a human, you know? It's how I know I'm going to conquer the stars. We got Aaron dropping an early morning galaxy on the stream, baby. Shout out. How to convert? There are 3 ways to convert an advantage in chess. You can checkmate your opponent, which, use your advantage to checkmate your opponent, which ends the game. You can, if you have an advantage, then that means you have more firepower than your opponent. So trading off pieces makes your advantage more substantial. That's what we're seeing Yifan do in this game. And the third way of converting a position is if you truly have the superior position, then you should be able to put yourself in your opponent's shoes, say, okay, if I'm my opponent, as Yifan strikes back, and once again, we are evened up. All tied up, man. This is crazy. This match is living up to the hype and then some. Whoa. +4 down 1 pawn is crazy. Was this in English? I wasn't sure. I was getting my waffle. It looks like in English, though. Nimzo. mm. Aren't you Kryptonians on? I'm from the planet Krypton, But I have to maintain that I'm human, because if word got out that I was Kryptonian, all the governments would come knocking, yapping my ear off about doing stuff for them. And I ain't doing all that, man. It's too much work. Also, I like the idea of telling governments what to do. I don't like the idea of governments telling me what to do, you know? How do you think you would do against these players? Your online rating is close, isn't it? It is. My peak is actually higher in Blitz than Yifan's current rating. My peak Blitz is 2872. I would get smoked. It is funny. Our ratings are close, but I'm very confident I would get thoroughly outplayed game in and game out. There is a significant gap between players like this and myself, without a doubt. I think if you log on and you play a random 3-minute game, right? And we're playing against a random 2700, I think my combination of speed, my opening choices that I play, and my ability to convert positions, as well as my tactical awareness, is going to allow me to consistently beat random 2600s or random 2700s about as consistently as Yifan does. But her understanding of and her greater understanding of chess in general, and her especially her opening knowledge over the full course of a match against each other, you would just see move in and move out how much of a gap there is between us. So the ratings don't always tell the full story. There have also been too many moves in this match that Yifan has just like played without a second thought that I would have had to put serious effort into recognizing whether it's even a good move or bad move for me to try, you know? I was honestly wondering about that myself a little bit when I hopped on. I was like, I know online ratings are misleading, but could there truly be that much of a gap between us if like our ratings are like decently close to each other? And after watching this match up to this point, I can confidently say, yeah, definitely. But after all the fireworks that's been going on, both sides are a little, I don't want to say timid, but more willing to draw things out until Alice decides, all right, I'm up 30 seconds on the ticker. Let's make something happen. Ah! But now that pawn on h6 becomes a target, the pawn on f6 is a target as well. You can try queen a1, knight takes g2 as well. I think it's all going to boil down to a draw, opposite color bishop. You might be able to play queen takes f6. That's the only reason Alice is thinking here. Okay, queen g7 and it should be a draw. g5. Yifan's up a pawn, but in an opposite color bishop in game, that extra pawn should never ever be a true threat to actually do anything. You do have to be kind of careful. Queen h4. Look out. Scary checks. Scary checks in 20 seconds. It's not a good mix. No, where does the king go? So many squares. Just keep it light. Keep it light. Oh, we went dark. Oh, we went dark. No, the G-pawn's hanging. Ah, no, this looks terrible. Queen C7. How does that not lose? Because there's Queen F3. Okay, never mind. Okay. Crazy poise from Yifan. Crazy. I thought we were lost, man. I thought queen c7. I think Alice thought so too. And now she realizes it's queen f3. And you get the old perpetual. King's going to be trapped in this little cube here. Never gets out. You can play queen takes g4. Who do you think will win this game? I think it's just going to be a draw. That's crazy. Neither side is yielded, man. Like, games are just going back and forth. Whoa, 92. Whoa. Uh-oh. Lest we forget, there's a world champion in our presence. Or you might get some world champ prep. But look at Alice, man. Ready for any task. This is crazy that they're still even. This is nuts. Like, the play styles are so different. The levels of understanding are so different. But yet, it's all somehow coming out to being like neck and neck. It's crazy. Props to Alice holding her own. I know, she's up against a legend, man. She's up against a literal world champion, and she's holding her own. But also, Yifan is literally just a professor. Like, she doesn't train chess. She doesn't study. She doesn't compete. But every now and again, they hit her up and they're like, yo, Yifan, can you come show him how it's done? He's like, yeah, I guess. And she just pulls up and makes it to the finals of these events. It's crazy. I play like thousands of games a week. And at my peak, I hit 2870 in Blitz. She doesn't even train, study, or play chess anymore. And she just casually 2800. 2860. That is crazy. Fries for breakfast? Hey, they came with the Philly cheesesteak. I got that with my waffle, too. Watching you play Blitz is one of the most insane things I've ever seen, bro. I appreciate it. Something, something, something. Perfect game of chess ends in a draw. I wonder who's gonna break the ice. You think that gets in her opponent's head? I think just the fact that she's a legend and like, you know, it's like the women's version of playing Magnus Carlsen effectively. That would really be Susan or Judith Polgar probably, but pretty close. You know, like, is OTB or online? It's online. Chess.com event. Philly cheesesteak for breakfast and a Belgian waffle and a hot chocolate. Mm. Was this a Sicilian? I've seen none of the moves, but that's what it looks like. No. If you ever come to Philly, I'll get you a real one. I've been to Philly. I got a real one. Took a picture of me shirtless with the Rocky statue. True story. I also got a signed letter of congratulation from the Eagles. Boo the Eagles. Go Cowboys. Do you reckon we will ever see a sub 10-year-old GM? Yeah, probably, because there probably eventually be some parents that fly him out to, like, Antarctica, where there's a bunch of GMs who he can just farm rating and norms off of in rigged events. That already happens nowadays. How good do you think Halliburton and the Pacers will be this year? They'll be aight. I think they'll be aight. That one year, that was their year, man. They found lightning in a bottle. That was one of the greatest individual playoff runs I've ever seen from an athlete in any sport, not just basketball. I was a Thunder fan, but to see him go down like that in Game 7, that was heartbreaking. To see any player go down is always heartbreaking, especially with how he was balling out. That was just brutal to watch. But I think they'll be aight. Playoff team. Could get to the second round. Don't think they'll make it past that. To be honest, I don't think they make it to the second round this year. They just got to get back to the offs. I don't see any reason to think here and not just play queen takes a4. We're hitting the rook. We're hitting the pawn on c4. Probably queen takes c4 is a bit greedy. That one might be a bit much. Bishop a6. Apparently rook c7 is best. Bishop c6. Keeping the bishop trained on the strong diagonal. You see that understanding right there? I would have gotten greedy and gone after the target. What did you have? Bishop takes g2 first is better. Now bishop c6, and you can't play queen c6 because it allows knight takes e5. This version, there's still bishop g2. Excuse me. And then what do I play? Rook e5? No, rook e5 is wrong. I'm sorry, rook d4. I was so busy focused on this knight on e5. I was thinking rook d4 is e5. Ay. Oh my days, knight d7, the best move on the board? How do you find knight d7, man? Oh, there are levels to this game we call chess, alright? And whatever levels there are, you need an elevator to get to Yifan, let me tell you right now. It's gonna take an elevator to reach her, alright? Hello from New York City. Shout out, baby. The play's so nice, they named it twice. That was just a free pawn, wasn't it? Alice, what are we doing? White, or black just has a passed C pawn now. I mean, yes, white does also have a passed A pawn, but that A pawn is so difficult to push down the board. The C pawn, on the other hand, looks like a runner. You cannot play queen takes d5. Oh no, pawn takes d5. The double pass pawns, but maybe you can establish a blockade. Why did you not go knight d4? Oh no. Without knight d4, it's game over. And pawn d4 is, oh my goodness. You just sacrifice all the pawns. You jettison caution to the wind. Alice trying a last second Hail Mary sacrifice. She's gonna give up not only the knight, she's gonna give up the queen. But there's a knight on f6 guarding against any kind of perp. The queen, but now there's rook g... King f8. Oh my diddly days. She does it again. That is absurd. That is absurd. Should have taken an extra second there. I mean, hindsight is 2020, but you're right. But honestly, who could blame her? The fact she found that is crazy. 3 draws in a row, man. That is nuts. So draw by repetition is honorable? Well, when you're playing for a championship and moolah on the line, there isn't really such a thing as honorable. You're trying to win. You either give it your all or you're not gonna be here, alright? The people that give it their all are in the final. The people that play honorably, they're watching with you guys, alright? There is no honor, man. This is war. Alright? Chess is a gentleman's game. When you get the chance to be a gentleman, you always should be. But this is war. Alright? This is for all the marbles. This is for moolah. This is for bragging rights. This is for legend, status, everything. Crazy. Also, you know, even in a rated game, like, this is a gorgeous perpetual. Like, this is genius. You have to, like, this is too good not to... that blunder's made in one. Absurd. The move you needed to play instead was playing d1 equals queen right here. Because now after rook takes g7, now you have king h8. And there's no... Maybe in the heat of the moment, she might have thought knight f7. Right? That could be checkmate, but obviously it's not because of king takes g7. But, you know, when you have under 20 seconds or something, then all that can be kind of blurry to you. The last 3 games of this match have been a draw. They're going to resume after a short break in 2 minutes. Do you recommend the Tiger Sprung series for 1800 FIDE level? I don't know what Tiger Sprung series is, so maybe. I don't know what that is, man. Rook was already on g6, huh? No, in the... Not there. Instead of capturing the knight, you needed to promote into a queen, and it's winning. After you capture, it's still winning. But after rook g6, you need to go rook d6. And then if white ever checks you, you play king takes h7. And if you just go here. And the problem is, while you can stop black from getting a queen, you have 2 connected passers. So even though white is up 2 extra pawns, it's about how quickly the pawns can roar down the board. 2 pawns on the second rank always beat a rook. It's really 2 pawns on the third or 6th rank beat a rook, but just over-exaggerated there. With 1 more second, she probably could have found that out, but, you know. Alice showing exactly why she belongs in the final of this event. The resiliency and the ability to find game-changing lines, game-changing sacrifices and tactics. And she's doing it while in time pressure. Watching from Kenya. Shout out Kenya, baby. All right, they're going to resume the match in about a minute. Probably a little less than that, eh? It was about... Whoa, no. Almost turned on sticky keys. Chill. Chill. Yeah, they're probably going to resume in about 30 seconds. I'll let this game finish out. Ugh. You like Kali's system? I don't play it. Or know much about it. Was good, Joe Bartman? I thought white was going to win this game because black's king was on the run. But it was Yifan's turn to find a threat. It looked like you could go here and you're threatening all sorts of stuff, but they're just queen f3. Whoa! I'm way behind. The 3+1 portion resumes, man. It's getting down to the nitty gritty, and they're still all tied up. This is crazy. You like Caro Khan defense? Nah, I don't play it. It's still a good opening. Just not my personal cup of tea. Chat, who do we think's taking this event, man? Alright, I asked this an hour ago, and it was all tied up then. You could not tell. I ask you all again now who is going to take this, and it is still tied up. Crazy. Whoa! Finally, we're seeing Yifan get in opening trouble. I feel like almost every opening, it's been Yifan pressing right out of the gate, if not coming out with an outright advantage. But this time, it's Alice who is on the attack, and there might be... Is there just knight g4? Whoa, what did she miss? Was it knight g4? Oh, alright. It was bishop h3. And after bishop takes h3, then you play queen d7. And if queen g2, then you go knight g4. And if king h1... Oh, it's not rook h3? You can play rook h3, but knight e3 is best. Alright, hold up. I mean, we're sacking the rook, right? I think Alice sees the other line. I guarantee you she's trying to bait her opponent into repeating the position. They've had 3 draws in a row. It's in the back of Yu's mind that she's like, wait a minute, I'm not better here. If I just repeat, she might have a tough time figuring out the next move. Maybe I can get out of this game with a draw and then win the next game to put pressure on my opponent. But she also knows King H2 is not a good move. She can sense it in the back of her mind. Alice does not get her opponent to fall into the trap. The discipline of Hu Yifan on display. Alice, my money's on Alice. Twitch going with Alice Lee for America. Yo, shout out America, man. She is repping well against an absolute legend of the game. Queen D6 looked right to me. Apparently pawn F6 was the right move. But never play F6. Obviously, Alice Lee has listened to Ben Feingold. Although maybe she shouldn't have there, because F6 won. Oh, Bishop F4 was stronger, just retreating. That's why Queen D6 was no good. Because it allows Bishop F4. Who's winning so far? You can see the match score right here, man. It's dead even. All locked up. They played 12 games. Split the point total 6 apiece. Queen F4 is pretty logical, though, because you want to trade the queens off, and you're threatening F7 as well. You can go Queen F8 to keep the queens on the board, but that looks very passive. Queen G6 looks a lot more active to keep the queens on the board, but apparently it's a worse move. You're giving up control of D5, and if takes back on D5, hops in the pony, and E7 is loose as a goose. Strawberry mousse. Bishop E5, yep. You want to realign the bishop. But now where does the queen go? E4, C4, A4? The queen goes nowhere! Oh my days. Black can play F5. Oh, this position might make my head hurt. It's a Mexican standoff in the Women's Speed Chess Champion final. Look at this. Both bishops point at the other queens. Now there's pawns pointing at the bishops. What is going on? I can't tell how this position is equal, but Stockfish says it is. Queen F5 looks forced, but that is a big concession for Alice as she was just positionally dominating this game. If you didn't play Queen F5, this knight on G4. Whoa! You're gonna sack the bishop for 3 pawns? Can I just take this? Nope. Oh, man. 4 pawns for a bishop. And there are still pawns loose everywhere. Rooks pinned. Pawns pinned to kings. Oh. Dude, I couldn't play this in a normal game chilling at home. Yeah, good luck solving this. Like, if I was just chilling at home off stream, relaxing on my couch, I couldn't solve this position. Playing in front of the world, with the time pressure, with the stakes, with an even match, yeah, good luck navigating this. Bishop F2, King F1, Knight E3, King E2, Bishop H4! Ah! And as the smoke clears, Alice is the one on top, up a clean rook. Don't play rook A2. Okay, there it is. There it is. Nice find. Oh! Hold up! Artie's got some tricks! Oh, he's got some tricks. Hold up. There is no way I just witnessed that. Oh, my days. Oh, my days. That came out of nowhere. Oh, look at this king and pawn technique. Study the in-game, kiddos. Study the in-game. Look at the technique. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my days, that was disgusting. There is no way she just pulled that off. Oh, poor Alice, man. That is crazy. Their fourth draw in a row held masterfully, absolutely masterfully by Yifan. I mean, that was an insane sacrifice. I don't know, man. Can Alice recover? Whoa, whoa, what? What happened to the game? No, just the active game. Making me late. Flip the board. That is nuts. What does flag him mean? Flag him means make them run out of time. You can win a game of chess either by checkmating your opponent's king, your opponent surrenders by resigning, or they can run out of time, which is called flagging. That term came from back when chess clocks were first invented. And they were like, back in like the 60s and stuff, when they were like the analog clocks, whenever the timer hit 0 back then, there would be a little flag on top of the clock that would fall to indicate that the time was up instead of like, a digital timer. So, whenever your flag fell, that meant you flagged or you ran out of time. So the more you know. Commentators cursed that last game so bad. My bad, Alice. That one's on the general. All right. I don't know, man. This match is crazy. It could go either way. I don't know who I have as the favorite. Like, Yifan pulled that one out of the bag. Like, yowza. Some resounding resistance. Throughout the entire game, not even just that last trick. She was worse effectively throughout the entire thing. Go to the general and save some time. It's all your fault, Zod. It might be. Commentator's curse is real, man. Flagging means winning on time by making stupid moves fast. No, flagging means you run out of time. A flagger is someone who wins on time by making stupid moves quickly. Or someone who plays to win on time instead of winning by checkmate. Flagger refers to someone who does that. Flagging refers to you ran out of time. It's to describe an event. Flagger refers to a person. Is that accuracy on screen aggregate or just for the current game? Just for the current game. What does a flagger do? Play quickly to win on time instead of by getting checkmate. Her reaction to the blunder was heartbreaking. Oh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. She's got to find some way to calm her nerves here. Like, it takes so much mental energy to outthink, outwit an opponent like Yifan. I actually don't think taking a draw here is a bad idea for Alice. Just give yourself a game to reset. But she wants to play on for more, man. She smells something in the water. Knight g4? Knight g4 looks juicy, but maybe it does nothing. You just go bishop back to e7. Alice does have the white pieces here, so it's very, with white, you want to play for the advantage. It's very natural to play on. But that last game where she should have won and then she let the win slip away with that brilliant trick and save by Yifan, like, Lee needs to make sure she does not lose this game, because then, your mental, it's very difficult to mentally reset yourself, get your composure back on track, right? Because all of a sudden you went from a situation where for a few seconds or like a minute or two, you thought you were going to be leading the match and put pressure on your legend of an opponent, and instead you now find yourself down one game in the match and trailing. It can be quite jarring when that reality sets in. So you need to treat the match with a sensible approach. But Yifan playing f5, it's not a weakening move because it doesn't weaken the dark squares too much, but e5 and e6 are tender, I'll call them. And white is able to apply some kinds of pressure. Is it going to be enough? I don't know. Queen e3 and targeting the b6 pawn is what old Fish of Stocks wants. What are those things behind you? Chess trophies I won when I was younger, growing up. A few hockey trophies as well, but mostly chess trophies. Apparently c5 is better. You just want the passed pawn. The rook gets to c7, but rook d7 holds at bay. Oh my days, bishop f6 won! Because if you took, there was rook d1. That would have been a heart... Oh no! Alice! Oh no! The rook was just trapped. If you did, I understand it. If you react to the mate in 2, then you're down a rook and you're gonna lose that game. So you may as well move the rook. That's what I was talking about with that game. It's so important for your mental to not lose and be able to reset, because once again, you are in a situation where, and I don't think that's one she normally lets get away from her, but it is blitz. But Yifan is showing that has more than one style of play in her bag, She's not a one-trick pony of some, I'm a over-the-board chess champion. I need to play perfect chess. Nah, she'll reach right into that bag of tricks, When in Rome, she'll play as the Romans play. Which has been an impressive adjustment from Yifan to see. But now we need Alice to recognize what's going on and have the strength of will to convert these positions, the resolve, the clarity to convert these positions and not let this match get away. Keep in mind, throughout these entire 14 games set up to this point, neither side has led by more than one game. Will we see that for the first time in this match? I don't know, man. Yifan is deep, deep, deep in the think tank now. How many wins to decide the winner? They're going to play the rest of these 3+1 games, and then they're going to play 25 minutes of 1 minute, 1 second bullet, and whoever has the most points at the end of that is the winner of the match. So we're about probably like 70% of the way through or so. You think you had a chance of winning any of them? Winning a game here or there? Definitely. Winning a match? No. Not even close. There's levels to this thing, man. Don't be fooled by these things called ratings. The ideas that both sides have come up with throughout this match have just been astounding to me. What FIDE elo do you think they have? Yifan almost peaked at 2700 elo. Almost. She almost got there. I don't know what Alice is at. I mean, she's an IM, so obviously that means she's 2400. But I thought she was pretty close to 2500. But I don't know. You're just humble. You can beat them any day of the week. Yeah, if we get 5 games, I'll win 1 or 2. But I'm not beating them in a match. Dude, there are levels to this game of chess. 1000%. Trust me. She's a future woman grandmaster for sure. She's already a woman grandmaster. She's an international master, which automatically makes her a one grandmaster. Alice is going to become a grandmaster. She is 16 years old and the first woman to ever become 3000 rated online on chess.com. Bishop takes f4 is a blunder because of... Or, I'm sorry, queen f2 is a blunder because of bishop takes f... What? Whoa, what? Oh, my days, there's queen d5. That double attack was so easy to miss. There's still queen d5. Stockfish really just wants you to go queen d5. You can't do it now because of the knight, so it wants you to trade and go queen d5. It thinks this a-pawn is how you win the game. Yifan realizes it and seals it up. Now Black's win condition is no longer on the chessboard. The pawns being stuck on dark squares could be a little bit dicey in some endgames, but now we're seeing the timer even up. When we've gotten down to the time scrambles, it's been Yifan who's been the better player under pressure. Is that going to continue? This should be a draw, right? Maybe not. Ooh. The d4 pawn is loose as a goose. Ah, that rook is so awkward on f4. Alice seems to be finding a thread. She needs rook e or g7. Rook g1. Oh, man. Alice is storming in. Where do you put the king? f4? f4 looks natural to me. Apparently, f2 is best. Oh! If you go back, there's rook e4. But how do you break through? Oh, man. And now, oh, man. Alice with some gorgeous maneuvering. But how do you finish him? Oh, man, you needed rook b2. That's... Yifan finding ways to swindle games. It's far from over. But she is fighting a fight that she should not be able to fight. Alice is still 1,000,000% in the driver's seat. The inactive king. You need to play rook b2 and go for this rook g3 idea. Or rook g2. You gotta split the pawns and the king. And Alice, she sees it! Rook b3! They're split! And now the pawns start falling! Oh my days! I say study your in-games, but I don't know if any amount of studying can prepare you for this kind of position. This'll take you for a loop. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all tied up going into the final portion of the match. That is crazy. All tied up. That is absurd. We got Welshman 2006 with a Prime subscription, baby. 3 months in a row. Been a while. Shout out. I appreciate the support. 1+1 now. Yeah. Give the players a short break, and then they're going to play 1 minute, 1 second bullet. I don't know, man. This could go either way. Neither side has ever led by more than 1 point. It's been so close, you can't even, like... First off, we gotta go back and watch this sacrifice by Yifan for this swindle. This was an absurd swindle. Leaving it all on the table? They are, man. Alright. We got Joey Roberts dropping a hard me first career gift to the channel. Shout out. No speed chess championship has been this close, maybe ever. Yeah, this is the closest ever. There's never been a back and forth. I mean, this is as close as it gets, to be fair, though. Like, you literally cannot get this close. Alice Lee's FIDE Classical is 24-30. That is absurd. If Alice wins, she'd be the youngest champion of all time in any format. Oh, my days. That would be history in the making. They're just going blow for blow. And they're not done. They're trading blows. Yep, they're going blow for blow, and they're not done. You stream anywhere else? We're also live on Twitch. GeneralZodChess, baby. A crazy sacrifice. Look at this. Look at this. You got to replay that one more time. And she did it with like 5 seconds left. 3 seconds left on her clock. Look, she's down a rook in this position, and look what she does. This is just crazy to watch. The way you win this position as black is you just go bishop d6. And now, if you take, black's just up an extra minor piece, and this pawn is going to roar down the board. And white can never stop it. Zod, what's your FIDE ELO? I think it's 1999. We have like 1 or 2 FIDE tournaments a year in my state, so there aren't many chances to play FIDE. So the FIDE rating, it ain't going up or down too much till I start traveling. All that in due time. In due time. My rating is too low to participate in FIDE tournaments. Going to FIDE tournaments helps make you a stronger player, though, you know? And it's just super fun. It helps increase your passion, you know? I always recommend, if you enjoy chess, try going to an OTB tournament. It will help you out, make you a better player, and just make you more passionate about the game, even if you don't necessarily, like, go out and win every game. The 1 minute, 1 second bullet is coming up next. 25 minutes of that, alright? It's starting about 2 minutes, chat. Would you play Chess Hustlers and make it a YouTube video? Sure. At some point. I have to go to a place where there are chess hustlers, not many around where I'm at. Low-key should be a voice actor. I could be a voice actor. I could see that. How many cheaters are there in chess.com? I don't know. I think they said there were about 39 million rating points that got refunded last month. That's a lot of rating points. This game ended because the rook's under attack. So you can defend against checkmate, but then black just up an extra rook and the game is over. So Alice moved her rook to safety, but now after rook d1, the king is forced to h2 and then checkmate. Chess.com bans about 4,000 players every day for fair play violations. That's crazy. So Chess.com released their games database. When did that happen? Their games database? What you talking about? Alice will win it all now? You think so? I don't know, man. It's going to be close. Also, shout out Penguin, man. You've been here since the start of the stream. Appreciate the support, baby. You know Alpha Wamana? I played against her once, like, a year or two ago. I hope Alice wins it. It would be pretty historic if she came out against the odds and ended up winning this event. That would be pretty historic. Goated music, I appreciate it. But we'll see. It could go either way, man. Like, I thought Yifan was going to be a big underdog when the time controls got shorter, and she just showcased, like, why exactly she's here. Her ability to adapt and her ability to start playing for tricks and traps was so absurdly impressive. But she's gonna need to, like, keep that same mentality and that same playstyle going into the bullet portion of the match. Oh, I should have stretched more before I started it. All games ever played in chess.com are accessible now, just like Lead Chess games have been for a long time. At least sometime this year. Huh. Which training methods have the highest return? Usually reading. And puzzles. Advice if you can't read. If you can't read, I would say pick up a dictionary, but with how online everything is nowadays, just have an AI read out to you. You know, what's the worst that could happen? You become like those people in Wall-E. They're like floating around, 800 pounds, couldn't walk, can't run. Could be you. But at least you'll have AI reading for you. Give and take. Even very old chess.com games, they're like, I don't know, but maybe. Huh. But just one E4 has been played a total of 21 billion times in the database. Good! Best by test. So says Bobby! Ah! The bullet portion started! Yo, why did no one tell me? Ah! This is it! The final portion of the match! Ladies and gentlemen, strap in! Alright? Buckle up! It's been neck and neck the entire way, but someone's gotta win. Someone goes home number 2. There can be only one. And we're gonna find out who that one is in these next couple matches. Oh man, oh baby. This match has lived up to the hype. I knew it was gonna be a good one, but for it to be this close is crazy. I'm back. What did I miss? Nothing. This is the first game of the match, or the first game of the bullet match, I should say. Players are still deadlocked. 7.5 per side after 15 games. Dead even. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. There's about 23 minutes of bullet to be played here. You can probably get in, I'd say, around like 9 games or so. Not 9. I'd probably say like 7, 8 games maybe. The public's pulling for the kid. I think we gotta turn it to Alice's perspective, right? The people are pulling for the kid to pull off something spectacular, miraculous. All right, we gotta watch from her perspective. The white pieces are well placed, but there are no targets in the black position. Every pawn that black has is well defended, and by the time white is able to attack, you should be able to get a perpetual check. Queen b5 is gorgeous technique by Yifan, but can she close it out? There might still be queen to e5 to keep the game running, and Alice is going to do everything in her power to do just that. Keep the game extended in an effort to wear her opponent down on the ticker. Force out mistakes of any kind that could tilt this match into a deciding factor. As you see the pawn on e6 fall, but so too does the b4 pawn. Yifan displaying world-class technique. When you say study the endgame, this is exactly why. Alright. Both sides knights on opposite sides of the board. Look at that. A knight on the first, a knight on the 8th. And now, finally, only now do they start bringing them up the board. The pawns are being checked at bay. And now the pawn on h3 falls. The pawn on b6 cannot fall because the king would get in. And Alice needs to be extremely careful not to lose this game. Her back is to the wall. But king f3. And now she's going to be able to bring everything in. She was in morbid danger. All right, the voice is going to be Gonzo Alonso before this match is over. But man, after the dust settles, because now, while she still does need to be a wee bit careful, laddie, a wee bit careful. Eventually, the pawn on g4, h5, g5 or h5, you can trade one for the knight. You just have to make sure you trade the g-pawn first. A gorgeous fortress. Yifani, you needs to be careful that she doesn't... like, the timer is so... Alright. I was a little worried, but 5 seconds, Yifan's got it. When she was getting... Was there a win? Whoa, did that eval bar just spike up? I thought I saw something. No, I think there was a hidden win. This one bullet game might take the entire match. Knight takes g5. Gorgeous technique. Gorgeous. That's going to seal the draw up. Gorgeous technique from Alice. No, there definitely was something back here, wasn't there? You have G4 and it traps the knight. Wow. That's the winning technique, is you trap the knight. Hard for Yifan to see in time pressure, though. And still, I mean, this is insane. Is in-game the most important to study? I would say it is, because you have the least amount of time as compared to the rest of the game. So, like, you can't think your way out of the position. You already kind of need to know what it is you're supposed to do. But that doesn't mean the other parts of the game aren't also important, right, to study. I don't understand how... I don't understand how this match has been so even. But eventually something's gotta give, right? Knight takes e5 is just a pawn? Ah, queen d6. Apparently d4 was very strong there, but I thought bishop... Yeah, that's what I was thinking, bishop e4. Bishop takes b7 first, and then bishop e4 was stronger, though. Which makes sense. Although you have to be pretty happy about this as white. You're just up a clean pawn out of the opening, and with only one minor piece left on the chessboard, your opponent's odds of being able to complicate this chess game aren't very great. You don't want to trade queens too quickly, but there could be ideas of a queen bishop. No, there's knight h8. Apparently this is still a good move, though. Knight h8? Oh, you just retreat. Huh. Yeah, I thought knight h8 dealt with this, but you just go queen back to g4 or h5, and I guess you've just forced the knight to being passive. 97 accuracy in bullet is crazy. They're in the final for a reason, man. They're in the final for a reason. They're here for a reason. Although, obviously, as you slip down on the ticker, it is impossible to keep that accuracy up. Oh, I think queen c8 was the play. Rook e3, and then queen c8, and then queen c5. This still should be good for white. Oh, wait. Why does it matter that... Ah! White missed, or black missed bishop d4. Man, you just see both sides panicking, playing quickly. You don't want to capture this pawn in h4. The knight ends up trapped. White has this 3-1 majority, but is it going to roar down the board? Everybody who has ever played bullet chess or speed chess, oh, there's bishop g6. Everyone who's played speed chess knows how dangerous the knight is, but you know what's also dangerous? Two connected passed pawns, and you gotta be careful. Don't move the bishop. There's pawn f5 for mating net. Good, you avoid the mating net. Can Alice come up with a miracle? Pawn c5, the pawn's roaring down the board. c7, this pawn needs one square. Rook c4, Yifan, one square away from destiny. And now queen comes onto the chessboard. And Alice back to the wall. Not even Alice can swindle her way out of this one. Queen of g8 is going to be all she wrote. Woo! And with about 19 minutes to go in the match, once again, Hu Yifan takes a one-game lead. Can Alice Lee find it in her to tie this match up as she has done so many times before? Or will the living legend start putting some pressure on Alice, the young 16-year-old prodigy? This match has been a treat to commentate, man. Alright? But the unfortunate thing whenever you're lucky enough to spectate two sides going blow for blow is that when the dust settles, somebody's gotta be knocked down, you know? Someone must fall. There can be only one. And we're gonna find out who that one is in these next 15 minutes. Alright? Alice has to just do her best to avoid the nerves, play chess, trust her instincts, trust her ability, and find the speed. It is her greatest weapon, her greatest asset. It's one of the big reasons why she got in here, is her ability to decipher these positions and decipher them quickly. Oh, rook takes a5! And if you take it, it's a free pawn! Come on, Alice! Ah, God. That's alright. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. She has no idea she missed a tactic. But maybe Yifan does, and that psychological edge might give her what she needs to take this position over. Yifan missed a chance to win, but make no mistake, she is still in the driver's seat of this position. Yu has the triple stack on the B file, and if Alice can't find some form of counterplay, Black is going to overwhelm the white pieces slowly but surely. What's up, Osek? I don't know. Knight d7 looked pretty reasonable to me. Knight c5? What are like? Why is this not? Oh, you can just take on a. Oh, what am I? Duh. Ugh. Good on Alice, forcing the queens off the chessboard. Do not let yourself go down 2 games. That is so important in this match. You know, there might be knight c4. Finding you commentating the final of the Women's Speed Chess Championship. Alright, it's been a treat to watch. But someone's got to go down, you know? There is 13 minutes to go in the match. Unless it's all tied up, then it goes to overtime. Whoever has more points at the end of the match is declared the Women's Speed Chess Champion. Alice making this position work. She went from losing to all of a sudden fighting her way back in it. And despite being down a pawn, it is difficult to tell who's in the driver's seat. But it's white with the fast G-pawn passer. And it's black with only 3 seconds on the ticker. 3 seconds and some change. Rook F5 won the game. There's still a pawn to be pushed. G7, bring it home. Bring it home! The queen! The F-pawn is gone! And the G-pawn is unstoppable! There's nothing you can do! And we are once again, for the umpteenth time this match, all knotted up! 18 games, 9 points per side. Ay, ay, ay. It's going down to the wire. It's going down to the absolute wire, man. You could not script a better match. You could not script a better finale for this event. Alright, with only 10 minutes to go in the match, we are all knotted up, getting down to the nitty-gritty. For the third and final time, chat, give me your answers. Who is taking this match? Is it Hu Yifan, the living legend, the women's world champion, or is it the first woman to ever make it to 3,000 online, Alice Lee, the 16-year-old prodigy? Who is winning this match? I've asked twice before. Every single time I have asked, it has been knotted up. And here we are in the bullet portion. All knotted up. Blow for blow. Knight to e5 is such a nice maneuver. Clearing the minor pieces from the board, but that's not going to calm Yifan down from going for the attack. Lee tries to get the queens off the chessboard, which you understand from a positional perspective and from a time perspective. But g5, a little too aggro, and now you have to wonder if this pawn on h6 is just too loose. b5? b5 looks reasonable to me, man. But it allows rook g6. And now rook d8. But queen h7, queen back to e5. Queens come off the chessboard, and with the queens off the board, you see that evaluation bar start to slide back up. Alice trying to solidify this game. She says, wait a minute. I have a secret weapon. I've got something saved up with the white pieces. I can win a game with white. I just need to make sure I don't lose. The white rooks are hounding the black king in an indescribable manner. But as long as you hold fast that passed a pawn, I know it looks bad going down a pawn, but it is not enough to force counterplay in the position. Black has plenty of play for the pawn being lost. You just cannot sacrifice on g3. You cannot take on g3 or you lose. Rook e7. This is getting tricky. Yifan is exerting pressure. If you trade on g3, then white captures here. But now the black pawn pushes on e4? What is going on? It's a pass or be passed world. The pawns are pushing. Oh, there's rook d2. You're being pushed away. You're being expelled to the phantom zone, even though it's only one pawn. The black king is on the wrong side of the board. If the king's over on h7, this game is a draw. But he ain't. 3v2 is a draw. But because this king is cut off from the protection of the pawns, I don't know if Alice can hold this game. It would take a minor league miracle to bring this game. Whoa! Rook takes e3 was a draw? I don't believe that. Oh, 1 second! You gotta go! Ah! The king's stuck on the back rank! What's going on? Rook e5! No, Alice! But h5! h5 is a fortress! Oh, there was g4! There's g4! There's g4! There's g4! There's g4! Oh, my days, there was g4! I don't know if I'm going to make it through this match. g4 pawn sack and you break through. I don't even have time to go over the game. We got to hop into the next one. This match, somehow, some way, is still knotted up. It is all tied. 19 games they have played. And yet we do not have a leader. 19 games have been played. 6 minutes remain in the match. This is nuts, man. Alright. I don't know if the voice is going to survive this. Let me tell you right now. I can't even imagine what their nerves are going through. You know, there's never I finally have a lead, or I need to push for a counter. Like, it's just blow for blow for blow for blow. Non-stop. Oh man, that isolated queen's pawn for black looks ugly. But oh, what? Oh no! The nerves! I was just talking about the nerves! Whoever wins the game, next point wins the title. No, there's 5 minutes to go in the match. I would say there's probably 2 games to go. But Alice with that blunder. Whoa, bishop h7 is possible here. Alice with that blunder before bishop h7. Both sides are human, man. The nerve's getting to both sides now. There's 2 games after this probably that they can get in. If they're tied after that, it goes to overtime. But whoever has more points at the end of the match, which ends in about 5 minutes, is declared the match victor. Black would love to trade queens off the board and go to a... Whoa! Queen h5! Alice! King e8. But queen h8, bishop f8. Can I break in? Oh, king e8, there's e6. f6 to stay alive. There's queen g8. No! Alice had the win locked up, and with 1 second, Yifan survives. F7! 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 You gotta play F7! F7 wins! And Yifan is now down a bishop! Bishop g4! Bishop f2! Bishop d1! You're just winning! Oh my days! Alice Lee has a chance to put a stranglehold on the match out of left field. Out of left field would look like a win, a loss, a draw. When the smoke rises, the 16-year-old prodigy finds a way. She finds a way to emerge victorious, man. I don't know how she does it on the biggest stage against the biggest mentor, the biggest peer she has. She's doing it. It is insane to behold. There are 3 minutes to go. With a win here, Alice Lee can all but lock up the Women's Speed Chess Champion Final. Up to this point, no one has had a 2-game lead. Every single time someone has had a lead, the match has been tied up. Will history repeat? Or will history be made with the youngest champion ever in this format? You could not script a better match. These two have gone blow for blow the entire way. But there can be only one. There can be only one. For a second, I thought checkmate was blundered, because takes is back rank mate. But you wouldn't capture the queen. Black just had checkmate on g2. Woo! This is horrifying. The nerves that they both must be experiencing right now. Can you imagine what is going through the young Alice Lee's mind right now? An idol of hers that she has grown up idolizing, a living legend of the game. She now has the chance to put away, as she has done the entire event, and become the champion. And you can tell the nerves are there, because for one of the first times all event, she is the one down on the ticker. Yifan pressing on the ticker, pressing the position, pressing everything. This is a must-win game for Yifan. She cannot afford a draw. Queen e3. But they go into the endgame. And now the question of the hour, the question of the century, the question of the year. Can Alice hold the endgame? I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. But can we hold the endgame? Pawn f6, the only move to hold the draw. 6 seconds. She puts her pawns on a light square. It's a no-no. Something you never do. G5. What a find. Because there's bishop h5. This might be the last game of the match. If she can hold a draw, she might be the women's speed chess champion. We might be looking at the youngest champion of all time if she can hold. There's 5 seconds to go. If she holds this, she's the champ. But can she hold it? This is insane. It's same color bishop. She's going to try and push. Stockfish says it's equal. No, the king gets in. The bishop to d3. Alice Lee. You have got to be kidding me. Alice Lee. The 2026 Women's Speed Chess Champion, and a child shall lead them. Oh, baby. Oh, golly, oh, gee. Alice in Wonderland. The new champion. And so well deserved. Just brilliantly executed. Oh, my days. Woo! It comes to an end. Because after you take, you just push. And Yifan understands there's no more to be done. No more games left to be played. As the match, after 21 games, finally, after the 21st game, for the first time throughout the entire match, throughout the entire thing, for the first time, someone led by more than one game. That is absolutely insane. Both competitors, round of applause to them both for a match well fought. This was a spectacle to behold, alright? It lived up to the hype. I knew it was going to be a good match, but they delivered on the hype and then some. It was never more than one game apart. They went blow for blow the entire way. Absolutely treat to watch. Alright. Crazy that Alice pulled it off. Youngest champ of all time in any format for the Speed Chess Championship. She's 16.6. Alright. The voice is Gonzo Alonso. But to take down a former women's world champion, to take down so many legends. Alright, we're talking Dirk Nowitzki level of ring right here. The playoff run that she had to get here, to get to this path and bring it home is legendary. A legendary run by Alice Lee that she should be so proud of. And yet, it's just the start of her young chess career, you know? She's just getting started. She's got so much more to behold. Hu Yifan has nothing to be ashamed of. She's a professor. I'm sure her students were so proud of the performance she put in. She doesn't train or compete anymore in chess, but she casually pulls up to these events, gets all the way to the final, and then makes the young prodigy go all the way down to the wire. That level of talent, I cannot even fathom, just casually being 2,800. All right. Once again, hats off to both these players for an event well played. But there can be only one. And Alice Lee, from the good old US of A, proved that today she is top 2 and not 2. One more round of applause for her, man. Alright. We got Flamin' Co-Wizard with a Prime subscription. Shout out, baby. I appreciate the support. Thank you for the commentary. This is crazy. I gotcha. This is a great event to commentate. And I can't wait to commentate the Esports World Cup with Magnus and Hikaru coming up in the next week. That's going to be another hype event. We've got a lot of hype events coming up to commentate. But this is a great one. All right, if you weren't here for all the action, we'll be uploading this match to the YouTube channel, GeneralZodChess. Be sure to be on the lookout for that. All right. The voice is Gonzo Alonso. Ay. Woo! On what weekday? I'll be putting out a video for it on the channel. Be on the lookout for that. All right. We'll also be commentating the World Chess Championship later this year between Gukesh and Sindarov. Hopefully, Gukesh is able to figure it out. All right. And we get as competitive of a match as possible. All right, chat. We'll be back on live later today. I need to take a nap and reset the voice box, but we got to end every stream on a George W. So let me see if I can't channel my best Alice Lee here and send us off with the George W. All right. Alice Lee getting that George W is great, but we gotta put in the work and get our own George W. All right. I won't do anything like too crazy, like do a puzzle warm up or anything like that, or play Blitz. I'll just play some bullet games and hopefully we can get a George W to send us off here, and then we'll be live again later today after I get a nap and some rest on the old voice box. Right. I mean, I'm gonna rest up the voice, but I gave it everything I had for this event, man. Like, it's not gonna just. I'm not Deadpool or Wolverine. I don't got like a built-in healing factor like that. It's gonna take a few days for it to actually fully recover. But, oh, I'm lagging. No, I don't want no draw. No, I got checkmated. Holy lag spike. I didn't even get the checkmate notification till like 3 seconds after he mated me. It's pretty laggy, but again, I'm not gonna. That was a rough time scramble to play. I can't have these games go down to it. Holy lag spike. Whoa, what's going on? I also need to change the settings on my computer. To try and be a little more coolant. I got to put in ultra performance mode because I put a lot of stress on it from the double streaming. We got baited Rugrats with the tier 1 subscription, man. Shout out, baby. 9 months in a row. Great enthusiastic commentary, baby. Got me hyped. Let's go. I appreciate it. All right. Voice is going to be Gonzo Alonso for a few days, but that's right. We got to make sure it's rested up for the Esports World Cup commentary. Beginning, I think it's in about a week. They're having like the last chance qualifiers as well. And while I want to commentate as much as possible, I also got to make sure I'm like, again, saving my voice, saving my energy, all that stuff. Pick your spots, pick your moments. Should be fine. Should be not winning, no. Winning's too optimistic. I was kind of hoping she'd do that. Oh, I was really hoping she wouldn't do that, though. I missed my chance to go queen b4. Gotta move sometime this year. Doesn't look like it's lagging as badly, though. That's good. Ooh, nice find. I think I have this, though. Brain not braining. Brain not braining. Brain not braining. Brain still not braining. Doing my best to run out of time. Ay, ay, ay. All right, I'll take it though. A George W is a George W, baby. I appreciate all the support on the commentary tonight, chat. All right, shout out Buddy Ice Drop the Hand Heart. We'll be back on later today with our normally scheduled programming. If you guys missed out on the commentary and the action, don't worry. We'll be posting the full match to the YouTube channel and the full commentary to the YouTube channel, GeneralZodChess. Be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, I appreciate the support. Make sure you turn on those notifications so you know when we're live next. Follow the Twitch channel, GeneralZodChess. All right, don't miss out on all the action. And as always, oh wait, hold up. We got to get better about raiding people. Let's see. Who's out there to raid? Someone's always up streaming chess. Let's see. Who's streaming chess? We'll give High Variance a raid. I remember he raided us before. I've seen him on my For You page a couple times before. All right. If you guys want to participate in the raid, hop over to Twitch, GeneralZodChess. Appreciate the support, chat. We'll be live again later in the evening. Be on the lookout for that. All right. Shout out you guys again for the growth on the channel, man. We've been growing like crazy. And I've been having a lot of fun with it as well, you know? A good environment. All right, hop over to Twitch, GeneralZodChess. If you guys want to participate in the raid. And as always, to end the stream, remember, chat, when the world is cruel, choose to be kind, baby. Thank you guys again for all the support. I appreciate it. Turn on those notifications so you know when we're live next. And I will see you all in the next one. All right? Till then, have a good one, baby. All right?